Hi, I'm Peter Ball with The Athletic. I was just wondering, how have your interactions with the players here been so far? When did you first meet with them, and what's it kind of been like?
Yeah, I met with those guys last night. We had a team meeting. Had the opportunity to share my vision with the program, get a chance to shake every one of their hands. There's a few that are already home from finals, and so I've been able to make some phone calls with those guys and excited to start building a relationship. And relationships are going to take time, and we're going to work every single day to build trust and respect.
Coach, if I can ask just to slide that mic just a little bit closer, please. Next question right here. All right, back middle. Go ahead.
Randy Carricker from 101 ESPN in St. Louis. Jim, you said we've got our man. Can you tell us, when you initially met Eliah, what made him your man? And what was the thing that put Mizzou over the top for you, Coach?
For me, it was actually the first conversation, even over the phone, before I even met him in person. I really was impressed with his knowledge of Missouri. Later, he told me that when this job opened, this was the one he wanted. I think he has a passion for what he does. He's a great leader of men and driven for success. And that's the type of person that we wanted in our program.
Next question right here.
Oh, yeah.
Third second half.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What put this place over the top was the leadership's commitment to the football program, and their vision for what they're trying to do matched our vision. And I felt there was a synergy within that, and I felt like that was something that I really could be a part of. And when the president of the university system and the chancellor and the athletics director show up, you know they're serious about you. And talk is talk, but actions show you where things are really aligned, and they were aligned in the right way. And Appalachian State was a special place, and those players, I owe them an unpayable debt of gratitude for all that they did for me and my family. And I would be remiss not to thank them in that place. But this opportunity was an opportunity of a lifetime, and it wasn't just another job. It was an opportunity of a lifetime. And I preach all the time that if an opportunity presents itself, you have to be bold enough to take it. And at that point, I felt like, all right, this is the right one for me, with the right people, with the right support, and I firmly believe that we can do great things together.
Next question, row 3.
Blair Kirchhoff with the Kansas City Star. Jim and Eli, can you take us a little bit through the timeline of this, when the first meeting occurred? And Eli, I'm just wondering how you negotiated this through the Sun Belt Championship game.
Yeah, so we met Saturday night after it was. So my daughter had the Nutcracker at 7. All right, we won the Sun Belt Championship, and representation said, "Hey, Missouri wants to meet with you tonight." And I said, "Well, I have the Nutcracker at 7." And they said, "Well, we'll wait for you." And so we snuck out. I snuck out of the Nutcracker, drove to a Hampton Inn in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. I'm not sure that they were actually representatives of Missouri. They just said they were, and I believed them. And that's really where it started. And it was final this morning at 8 a.m. So.
Row 4.
Coach Drinkwitz, Colin O'Brien, Jefferson City News Tribune. I know you're eager to get out on the road recruiting, but have you made any decisions yet for assistant coaching staff?
So right now for me, it's deciding what's important and what's urgent. All right, the most urgent thing for us is to be on the road recruiting. And then the most important thing is getting the right people in the right places to move this program in the right direction. And so I'm taking my time on making those decisions. I will be making those decisions later today and tomorrow as I'm on the road recruiting. And so there'll be some hires trickle out, but I'm being cognizant of making sure the most important thing, which is recruiting this class, is done first.
Straight back.
Coach, back here. Neil Jones from Channel 5 in Kansas City. Welcome to Columbia. There have been people who say, golly, jumping from the Sun Belt 1 year as a head coach into the SEC, what's that going to be like? I'll ask you, have you talked to Coach Malzahn? What's it going to be like? What do you expect?
They ought to try to jump from a head seventh grade coach to SEC because that's where I started. And like I said earlier, I don't fear failure. I attack success. And no matter where my family and I have been in coaching, we've been able to rise to the occasion, to compete, to do it better than it's ever been done before. And so when we surround ourselves with the right people, when the players and I get on the same page about what our mission is going to be moving forward, I have no doubts that we'll be successful at all. I have spoken with Coach Malzahn. He is fired up for me. Sent me a text this morning, said enjoy it. So he's obviously been a great mentor to me, and he knows what he's doing, and so do I.
Next question right here, row 4.
Coach Nate Smith, scoopswithdannymac.com. You were on staff at Auburn for the 2010 national title team. Just curious what your biggest takeaway was from that experience, and how do you kind of apply that knowledge here at Mizzou moving forward?
Well, for me, the biggest takeaway was college football was easy. I mean, because that was my first experience, and we won 14 games. It's like, crud, this thing's simple, you know? No, I think I took a lot from that year. Obviously, my first experience, Coach Chiswick, the way he united a football team, the way he put family first, the way our football team rallied around Cam in that season was incredible. The way we were able to face adversity, mount comebacks, play well under pressure, those things that really have formulated for me my opinion on how you win championship football. So those would be the things that I take away.
Row 4 once again.
Coach Bennett Durando with the Columbia Missourian, you were talking about the experience at that hotel, and you said President Moon Choi was pretty persuasive. I was wondering what he said that was so persuasive to you.
I can't tell you. I can't repeat it. No, he was very direct, which I appreciated. It was a direct, open conversation about what the expectations of Mizzou football are and how we needed to go about accomplishing those. And his passion for Mizzou representing the entire state, for football to be a window to the university and represent the university in the right way with class integrity and academic excellence, aligned with my vision. And when visions align, I believe great things can occur. Like I said, if we will all push in the same direction, everybody's got ideas. That ideas are not the problem. Execution is the problem. Ideas are everywhere. Execution is not. We've got to execute the ideas and the vision that we have, all pushing in the same direction. And when the leadership is on board with that, then great things can happen, and that's what we're about, and that's what he was about.
Row 3.
Max Baker, the Man-Eater. So I was, I know in your Appalachian State press conference, you said you would be the offensive coordinator and play caller.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a two-part question. Is that something that you were going to be doing at Mizzou? Is that a decision you made? And then also I know that you said you want to do something that's never been done before. That's like one of your mottos. Is that something that you want to do here? And if so, like, what does that look like?
First off, yes, I will be the offensive coordinator, play caller. I firmly believe when you take over a program, you have to establish the expectation and foundation for what your experiences are. And for me, my background as a quarterbacks coach, developer, and offensive coordinator is what has allowed me the opportunity to be here. And so we're going to lay the foundation of what the expectation of offensive football looks like. Will I call plays forever? I don't know. But I know I'm going to call plays the first day of spring practice and as long as I need to. As far as what it's going to look like to do it better than it's ever been done before, I don't know. I'm going to have to research that. We're going to have to identify that as a football team. As a football team, we all have to – it's just words if I say it. Our leaders, our locker room, and us all have to come together, establish our identity, and say this is what we're going to accomplish together.
Coach, we're going corner, row 3.
Benjamin Hockman, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Obviously, you wouldn't have gotten this job if you didn't know defense, too. Mm-hmm. That being said, you'll hire a defensive coordinator. What are some characteristics of that coach that you desire, and what must an Eliah Drinkwitz defensive coordinator bring to the table?
Well, first and foremost, when we are talking about hiring men, we're talking about hiring people of high character who live the truths that they speak of, who have integrity. The most important characteristic for me is low ego, high output. We're about all being on the same team, being united on the same mission. And so I'm looking for a defensive coordinator who's going to have low ego, high output, who's going to work with our players to push them to have the best performance. So those are the characteristics I'm looking for. Specifically on the defensive side of the ball, we're going to be multiple. Like I said, it all starts with stopping the run. You have to make a team play to their deficiencies, not allow them to play to their strengths. So we've got to stop the run. And then we've got to, it's a quarterback-driven game. We have to confuse, harass, and hit the quarterback. We are not going to be able to allow him to stay back there. So if we can get pressure with 4 and accomplish that, great. If we can't, then we got to bring more. So it's not necessarily I'm going to be dogmatic and saying it's got to be a 4-down front or a 3-down front. It's about how can we get these things done? How can we stop the run? How can we confuse, harass, and hit the quarterback? That may be coverage variation. That may be through pressure. That may be through a multitude of things. But the most important thing, and the thing that I think sets up championship defenses, is tackling and turnovers. We are going to be a team that tackles well and creates turnovers. And that's what our defensive coordinator is going to have to bring to the table.